Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel and the Dragon Suplex Podcasting Network. This is a big one, guys. This episode, we talk about the showcase of the Immortals, the granddaddy of them all, the biggest wrestling show of the year, WRESTLEMANIA. It was a good one this year. It was a good one. I like the two nights. I remember when Wrestle Kingdom went to two nights, the match quality went down, but the overall value went up. And I think WrestleMania weekend, the match quality isn't what you're really looking for. You're looking for the spectacle. You're looking for just the entertainment aspect of it. You're looking for nostalgia. And we got all of that this year. And I think it's because of the two nights. I don't think you would be able to get everything that we got in these two nights with just one night. I also like the, what do they call it, NXT not TakeOver, Stand and Deliver, being in the morning. That was cool. So if you're just a WWE fan, you get there Friday night, you go to SmackDown, you go to the Hall of Fame, you wake up early, you go to NXT, and then you go to Mecca, you go to WrestleMania. That'll be a fun experience. But of course, if you're an indie fan or a fan of international wrestling, you would get there at like Wednesday and do the whole deal, which I'm really contemplating on doing next year. Every year, I think about going. I went twice. I've been to 27 and I've been to 34, two WrestleManias that aren't high on anyone's list of best ever, but I still had an amazing time. And I think 39 is calling my name in LA. But we'll get there. We're just going to be, running down night one, running down night two, ranking every single match from worst to first, the definitive list from worst to first. And I'm also going to be talking about Joey Janela Spring Break night two and the Clusterfuck. What an apropos name this year. Night one was the better night, in my opinion. Night one was better bell to bell and had the moment we're all going to remember with Stone Cold Steve Austin having a match. But to kick things off with night one, America the Beautiful, sang by Bradley Gilbert, son of late great Eddie Gilbert. Just joking, I have no clue who Bradley Gilbert is. This was probably the biggest show of his life. He sang the song. He did the thing. Aretha Franklin, he was not. I did like Marky Mark, though, cool video package off the top. Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders dancing to AC/DC. This is Vince McMahon booking this shit. Stephanie McMahon comes out and says, "Thank you. No problem, Stephanie. Appreciate it." Brings out Gable Stevenson. They really kind of, found a way to bring out Gable Stevenson. He should have been wearing that gold medal or the NCAA trophy or something. I don't know. The WWE Hall of Fame is always a fun moment. They announced 77,899 was the announced attendance. Night two, Josie Jane Decker. I don't know who she is either. Whatever. She looked better than the guy from night one, but, she sang just as well, I guess. America the Beautiful, great job, you guys. Ran it back with Marky Mark for night two. Triple H coming out. Never been much of a Triple H fan, but goddamn, this was sad. We know it was legit. He cannot wrestle again. He left his boots in the ring to kick off WrestleMania, and he kind of tries to keep it fun and exciting by saying, he wants to say goodbye the only way he knows how, and that's to introduce WrestleMania. He just wants to feel that WrestleMania crowd again, and I get it, man. Me too. I just talked about going to 39. I can't imagine having something that's been such a pivotal part of my life, like Triple H has to, wrestling at this scale, be cut abruptly so quickly. The Undertaker, kind of dwindled away a little bit. Even seeing Stone Cold being able to come back after 19 years, Edge coming back after 9 years, maybe there's hope for Triple H, but right now it is very, very sad to see the cerebral assassin have to hang him up. But we did get, Gable versus Gable. Chad Gable versus Gable Stevenson was kind of cool. Watching Gable throw Gable into the air. Cool little moment. Bullshit attendance. Regular attendance was 78,453. So more people came tonight too. I don't know where they're getting these numbers at. I don't think they're real. Before I rank these matches from worst to first, I just want to say that this ranking system is not based bell to bell as much as it is the pageantry and spectacle. The entrances is taken into account. The memorable moment is taken into account. The big fight feel is taken into account. But yeah, we're going to rank all 15 matches from worst to first, starting with the absolute worst. The match that got like 2 minutes. Wouldn't have been a good match on TV. Wouldn't be a good match on a house show, but somehow stumbled its way onto WrestleMania. The New Day versus Unholy Trinity. This match was thrown together last minute and super short. It made me wonder why they threw it together last minute. Why did they do this to us? Why didn't they just put a little bit more time on another match, or maybe put a little time into something else? Also, to sidetrack, if you paid the premium Peacock, you paid $5 more to not get commercials. The only thing they filled those commercials with was just recaps and video packages of things that we've already seen. I think that this could have been a 24/7 title moment here. You could have filled it up with some wacky, zany 24/7 title running around, or maybe just some extra promos or something. Some original content that wasn't just video packages or highlights that made you feel like you paid double the amount than the other people were paying. But I digress. Number 14 out of 15, Almost versus Lashley. Lashley superplexes Almost, spear 1, 2, 3. The Beast is conquered. I guess you could say David, the super jacked up, strong David beat the very tall and brooding Goliath here at number 14. Number 13, Usos versus Nakamura and Boogs. Love Boogs playing Nakamura out as always. Thought the orange and yellow tights were cool for Mike's Harder Lemonade. Usos hit the 1D for the 1, 2, 3. This match was kind of ranked low because, Boogs got hurt. That's kind of the story that people remember of this match. Unfortunately, it would have been maybe a little higher if Boogs didn't get hurt. I thought the entrance was cool. I thought kicking off WrestleMania was cool. Number 12 out of 15, Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin. I don't remember shit about this match. I just remember the sword. Just something about bringing a sword into a wrestling match is so ridiculous. And watching Baron Corbin and Madcap Moss react to it as if it's ridiculous every time cracks me up. It cracked me up in Saudi Arabia. Cracked me up here. Drew tries to kill Madcap Moss after the match. He jumps backward, but ends up cutting both of the ropes. They break. That's going to be the moment of this match here. That's what people are going to be remembering the next day and on recap shows for years to come. Next up is the women's match, 11 out of 15, night 2. This match was a bit of a clusterfuck. I'm sure a lot of people would be putting this lower down, but just like I said, you got to rank it by entrances and spectacle, and Sasha coming out in the Porsche. I don't know why Naomi didn't come out with the Porsche. Why didn't they come out together? They looked cooler when Naomi and Sasha were riding out there together. 2 Tower Doom spots at once was pretty cool. Riptide into the Codebreaker from Rhea and Liv, and then after that, the wheelbarrow into a Codebreaker combo was cool with Sasha and Naomi. I also liked Batman and Catwoman outfits coming out. For multiple reasons. I did just see that movie, and, let's just say I just saw that movie. Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn, night 2. This match was Looney Tunes. This match was cable TV from my childhood imploding on itself. WrestleMania and Jackass come together at last. This is insane. No Steve-O. Steve-O, I guess, still has PTSD over getting jumped from Umaga. The table mouse traps, the table full of mouse traps was cool. I think I've seen that in a death match before. Party Boy coming out. Cole bringing a Midian. I like that. That was hilarious. Wee Man getting his head kicked off by Sami Zayn was funny. The the contraption that kicked, Sami Zayn in the balls, like it was just like a swinging boot. I don't even know what you would even call that. The giant hand makes a return. I saw on Twitter people were saying that was Mark Henry and Mae Young's hand, which is hilarious. I mean, he's in his 20s now. He's a full-grown hand now, slapping Sami Zayn, getting his WrestleMania moment. The bowling ball spot was cool. I remember Al Snow doing this back in the day. So it kind of reminded me a lot of wrestling I saw from 20 years ago. And I see online, a lot of purists are upset by this match, but it literally reminded me of matches and spots that I saw from 20 years ago, like the mousetrap spot on a table. I think I saw that in CZW or FMW or something like that. Party Boy reminding me of Midian. The bowling ball reminded me of Al Snow back in the day. So, as much of this match was just a comic relief, it did take me back to some old school wrestling. The giant mousetrap spot was somewhat shitty. It was a big botch at the end, but it was a fun moment. At that point, if you're going to get mad at the ending, after seeing all that this match was, the big spectacle of it, what are you going to do at that point? You're probably already pissed off if you're pissed off at a giant mousetrap not working properly. Number 9 out of 15, Miz and Logan Paul versus Ray and Dominic. Dominic dressing up at Art Bar R, Eddie Guerrero, his poppy. Logan Paul looked good. Bad Bunny, eat your heart out. I think we have a new best celebrity performance in WrestleMania history. Both matches involve The Miz, believe it or not. And, Logan Paul looked like a wrestler. Bad Bunny looked like a rapper who wrestled well doing some lucha spots, where Logan Paul legitimately looked, kind of like Will Ospreay or something. Not as far as the moves, don't get me wrong, but as far as a visual look, he could hold his own. Leapfrog, bulldog, power slam, even a blockbuster at one point from the YouTube sensation. Got so much heat doing the Three Amigos. Come on. We can't praise MJF for, being able to get so much heat all the time and then not praise Logan Paul for doing the same. Skull Crushing finale, 1, 2, 3. But then The Miz turns on Logan Paul, which I think, let me critique this a little bit. I think it should have been the other way around. I think Logan Paul should have turned on The Miz, and then you could say that Logan Paul was upset because he wanted to get the pin. And I also don't think that people are going to boo The Miz over Logan Paul, because it might have taken him 10 to 15 years, but Miz is the wrestler in this scenario. Miz is not the celebrity in this scenario, as strange as it is to say that. So I do think that the wrestling fans will then pick The Miz over Logan Paul, despite Logan Paul being the big celebrity he is. But that's nitpicky there. Logan Paul wasn't even brought up on Raw last night. So I think he might be gone until next year's WrestleMania. RK Bro versus Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. The best tag match at WrestleMania. The best curtain jerker for WrestleMania. This match was great. I know I am weighing these matches from spectacle, but if I was just weighing it bell to bell, this match would be a lot higher up on the ranking system. Randy's 18th WrestleMania, I think they said that was a record, which is crazy to think about because, they just started doing these, big stadium shows at WrestleMania 17. I think Randy Orton snuck in there. I guess if this is 18, did he start at WrestleMania 21, which means he's only done these big stadium WrestleMania shows for 18 years now. That's insane. I think they're consecutively 18 years as well. But I digress. Back into the match. Gable with a beautiful moonsault. Street Profits with a blockbuster Doomsday. Holy shit. RKO caught in midair from Gable, 1, 2, 3. And then we got Gable Stevenson coming in, partying with RK Bro, partying with the Street Profits, throwing around Alpha Academy. You gotta love this Raw tag division here. It's a highlight. Every time I catch Raw, it's a highlight. I listen to recap shows. They're all talking about how good this division is. The Raw tag division is the glue that's gonna hold this show together, and I think it's gonna get a little better here with what we're going to talk about with the Edge and AJ match. If they're teaming Damian Priest and Edge, I think Damian Priest and Edge versus RK Bro could be a tag title match that could headline a pay-per-view, which is unheard of in the WWE. but I think I can see that happening. Number 7 out of 15, Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory / Vince McMahon. We're going to just bundle this all into one match because that's how I want to do it here. This match was a lot of fun. Vince music hits, and that shit always takes me back. That's a legitimate, just good song. Seven Nation Army, speaking of legitimate good song, Pat McAfee comes out. We see the cheerleaders again. This was well done here, picking this song for Pat McAfee. It's a song that stadiums around the world sing to hype their team or person they're supporting up, and that's what they did here. Right when the song ended, they're still doing the chants here. That was a big WrestleMania moment. He goes for a swanton, no one home, roll up 1, 2, 3. Pat gets the victory. Short-lived match between Pat and Austin Theory here. I'm just gonna, just count this as one match here. Vince comes in and takes his blazer off, takes his dress shirt off. He's standing there like the old school Vince McMahon from the 1990s, wife beater, like the good old days. Ref comes out, the bell rings. Vince getting the better of Pat McAfee with the help of Austin Theory, but then the glass breaks, and out comes Stone Cold Steve Austin for a second night in a row, gives Theory the stunner. Theory sells it like a champ, gives Vince McMahon the stunner, worst stunner of all time, celebrates with Pat McAfee, gives Pat McAfee a stunner. Pat McAfee spits, beer all over everywhere, spit take stunner. It was hilarious. We got the gif of the end of Pat McAfee just chugging beer to kind of just recap what he had just done. Stone Cold Steve Austin, biggest pop of not only night 1 but night 2, but we're going to get to night 1 in a little bit because right now we're going to be talking about match 6 out of 15, Edge versus AJ Styles. This match was good. Like I said, I was counting on this match to be the Steamboat Savage of both nights, the whole WrestleMania, but it didn't live up to the hype that I gave it to. Bell to bell, it was good. Very little pageantry. Well, actually, there was a lot of pageantry here. Edge showing up on a throne of fire. That was pretty awesome. I guess someone has to fill the void that Taker's leaving behind. And why not be Edge? Edge, would come out. He would get the big pyro. But there's no more Kane. There's no more Triple H. There's no more Undertaker. So who is left to get these big entrances? And you got to give it to Edge here. AJ Styles, though, kind of stealing the show with entrances. Why was he bleeding? People are saying it's the pyro. I thought something might have happened in the back. I don't know. Why was this man bleeding on his face? And why didn't they call an audible and just film the other side? Lots of questions to be had about AJ Styles' face here coming out, but he didn't let that stop him. Springboard 450, Edge with his knees up, torture rack turning into a powerbomb, vintage AJ here. Edge hits a springboard powerbomb here, shades of Dax Harwood. Dax Harwood did this to Punk and did this to, I think, Jay Briscoe in the Ring of Honor tag title match. And here Edge is doing it. Both Asheville natives, I know they're friends. Maybe they learned the springboard powerbomb together. I don't know. I'm speculating here, but it was cool to see both of these Asheville, North Carolina natives pull the same cool springboard powerbomb maneuver, days away from each other. Suplex on the apron. You rarely see an apron spot in WWE. Springboard 1, 2, Styles clash. 1, 2, Edge kicks out at both. Right now, this match would have been better than Charlotte and Rhonda. But I don't like interferences at Mania, and I don't like half-ass interferences. He just shows up out of nowhere, just stands on the ring, and distracts AJ enough to get the victory. Damian Priest, I like Damian Priest teaming with Edge because you can just tell Damian Priest, is very inspired by Edge's look and everything like that. Even when I first saw Damian Priest in Ring of Honor when he was Punisher Martinez, I was like, oh, this guy likes Edge a lot. That's immediately what I thought. And here he is years later teaming with Edge. I'm sure, it's a no-brainer that they look good together in the black suits on Raw and everything. We're going to get to that a little later. But so I like everything about it, but I just don't like how it happened at WrestleMania of all things. But just like I said, it would have been better than Charlotte and Rhonda, but it wasn't. So now number 5, going into the top 5, you got Charlotte versus Rhonda. And if you look at the top 5 here, you can tell that I thought night 1 was better than night 2. There's only one match out of all of night 2 that made it into the top 5 for me. This match was awesome. Most manias would this would be the best women's match on the show, but that just speaks to the quality of this year's Mania because it's the second best out of 3 women's matches on the show. Moonsault, Rhonda rolls out of the way. Charlotte hits a standing moonsault after landing on her feet from missing the moonsault off the top. Shades of Kota Ibushi here from Charlotte, but it wasn't as good as Kota Ibushi. Don't get me wrong. Arm drag off the top. Piper's Pit. Charlotte with an ankle lock, Rhonda with an ankle lock. This match was awesome. Charlotte's boob pops out. The screen cuts to black. We don't know what we're seeing here. Rhonda slips out of the figure 8, so I guess Charlotte could fix her wardrobe malfunction here. Ref bump. Little Nate takes a bump, takes a spear from Charlotte Flair. Rhonda had it won, but then Little Nate wakes up. Charlotte hits a spear again. 1, 2, 3. Charlotte Flair gets the victory. Hell yeah. I'm not a fan of Charlotte gets the victory here. Not a fan of Rhonda. Glad they kept it on Charlotte. Little Nate's though still sticking up for the Flairs after all these years. For people that remember 99 WCW. Charles Robinson. Number 4, Becky versus Bianca. Becky coming out in the SUV looking slick. Bianca coming out with the marching band. Apparently Bianca makes her own clothes, makes her own wrestling gear. That's cool. Bianca going into the steps. Handspring standing moonsault from Belair. 1-2. Becky kicks out at 450. 1-2. Becky still kicks out. Becky hits an enziguri on the outside. Bianca gets in at the 9 count. Hits a KOD. 1, 2, 3. And they're solidifying Bianca Belair as a star here. She beat Sasha last year at WrestleMania. She beat Becky here at this year's WrestleMania. No one's going to remember or complain about what happens at SummerSlam if you make good at WrestleMania. And that's exactly what they did here. So my biggest critique of the women's division all year in the WWE is now made good. I'm glad. Thank you, WWE. Thank you, Vince. Thank you, Steph. Thank you, Bianca. Thank you, Becky, for fixing this debacle that was the SummerSlam promotion of Becky versus Bianca, or Bianca versus whoever the hell she was wrestling, where Becky came out and beat her in like 10 seconds. But now we're going into the top 3 matches of WrestleMania. And number 3, Roman versus Brock. I saw this match getting a lot of shit online, but what do you expect? What do you expect from these 2 big heavyweights? The big fight feel was there. I expected this. I didn't want a 20-minute classic. 1, I don't think Brock and Roman could give me a 20-minute classic. And 2, I just want to see a hard-hitting matchup. I want to see results. I've sat, in my couch watching this show for 4 hours now. I want to see just that big fight feel. And when they were standing across from each other, I felt that feel. And I think the stadium felt that feel, AT&T. I was there at WrestleMania 34, and I saw how this match got shit on because they tried to make that big spectacle match and make that big bell-to-bell classic. And they didn't do it here, and it showed here. Suplex City, spear through the barricade, ref bump, low blow from Roman. Roman gets Heyman to give him the title. He hits Brock with the title. 1, 2. Brock still kicks out. Spear gets his spear. 1, 2. Brock gets his hand on the rope, and then Roman gets locked in. I can't remember the name of this hold, but it legitimately looks like it pops Roman Reigns' shoulder out of socket. He says he popped his shoulder out of socket. He had a hard time picking up the title. He needed to get to the rope. Heyman just uses his knuckles and pushes the rope just a little closer for Roman to grab. I thought that was a great spot. Michael Cole missed it, but when he saw it on the replay, you saw like a legitimate reaction, like, "Oh wow, did you see that? I didn't even see that before." He said that. But yeah, then spear 1, 2, 3. Roman puts his arm kind of back in socket so he could pick up the 2 world titles at the same time. This was an amazing moment. This was exactly what I expected it to be. I liked it. I wasn't, drunk or high or anything like that, so I watched the match. I enjoyed it. Sometimes I'll get a little fucked up and I'll enjoy anything I see in wrestling. And then when I see it critiqued, I'll be like, oh, did I really like it? But this year, stone cold sober, if you will, and I still enjoyed this one. So all the hate online, I don't know what you were expecting out of this match. There's two heavyweights going at it. But we're going into the final two matches of WrestleMania. Number 2, Cody versus Seth. This was the Steamboat Savage that we wanted, with a little sprinkle of modern pageantry on it. Seth coming out. We didn't know who he was going to wrestle. We knew that Bray Wyatt was at WrestleCon. We knew that Shane McMahon apparently came back for WrestleMania. I was hoping that it wasn't going to be one of them. And then, boom, Cody's music hits. It's Cody. He comes out exactly like he did in AEW. I thought that was incredibly smart to keep what he's doing with AEW. I mean, this guy was on TNT. This guy was on TBS with the Go Big show. This guy has his own reality show. So fucking that up would be wrong. Like Vince said in the press conference, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We have EMTs, fire department, coming to save the day here. I don't know if you can hear that, but yeah, the fire department just drove by my apartment here. But going back to Seth and Cody, an EVP of AEW, leaves AEW and jumps to WWE. I mean, shots fired here. This is the first shot fired from WWE, solidifying, I think, this competition. And it was a good shot. I mean, I think this might trump NXT having to jump nights. This might trump the AEW NXT wars. Like, AEW beat NXT, so now it's understood that they're competing with Raw and competing with SmackDown. And then you see them just firing multiple people that AEW is now picking up and taking advantage of. But here, they could not keep their EVP. They could not keep arguably the biggest star they have. He goes to WWE, first chance he gets, and then he hits a moonsault. He hits a dive. He kind of wrestles like he did in AEW. Buckle bomb to the barricade. Surprised he still does that shit after Finn got hurt and after Sting got hurt, but he did. Falcon Arrow, 1-2, Cody kicks out. Crossroads, 1-2, Seth kicks out. Phoenix Splash, no one home. I don't think Seth's ever hit this move. He always falls on his face. Just an amazing match combination with the return. Awesome to see. Dusty punches, bionic elbow, Crossroads, 1, 2, 3. They even have Cody Rhodes go over on Seth, which was another thing that people were speculating. People were thinking they're going to heat Seth up to wrestle Roman, so they need to give him the victory here. And they didn't. Cody Rhodes had other plans. He got the victory at WrestleMania. He feels like a star. They didn't mess it up on Raw. We're going to talk about that. He still feels like a star. I'm excited. They got me excited for Monday Night Raw again, which is what you want to do at WrestleMania. But that was only number 2. Number 1 was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens, the main event of Night 1. Kevin Owens coming out for the Kevin Owens show, stalling a little bit before Stone Cold comes out. And then he just gets whatted. And I haven't heard what chants this big ever. It was, 77,000 strong, just whatting the shit out of Kevin Owens. Glass shatters. Place goes nuts. Keep in mind, this was before the Vince, Austin Theory, Pat McAfee stuff. So this is the first time we see Austin. He comes out. Jean shorts. Knee braces. Austin 316 shirt. He about walks down the ramp. He thinks better of it. He goes, why walk down this ramp like everyone else when I can get in an ATV and ride down there in stone cold, broken skull style? The tension in the ring during the talking segment was hilarious, was great. Sheamus and Santino UK levels of heat here. People were just eating up every word. And then they say, we're not here to talk. We were here to fight. Then a ref comes out. They ring the bell. It doesn't feel real. Stone Cold Steve Austin is in a match after 19 years. I could not believe what I was watching. it had been, it was just surreal. It had been 19 years. It's surreal. Stone Cold stomps a mud hole in Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens did land a suplex on the concrete floor to Stone Cold. Stone Cold gets in control, starts drinking, starts whooping Kevin Owens' ass all over AT&T Stadium. The shot of Kevin Owens battered and bruised while Stone Cold is driving him in an ATV up the Mania ramp while people are just losing their mind taking pictures was amazing. Stunner 1, 2, 3. He's in there drinking with his brother. He's in there stunning Byron Saxton, making up for the 2020 debacle on 316 day. This was great. This was great. If this was what WrestleMania was, no other matches, I think people would be excited. They would love this year's WrestleMania. It would be one of the best WrestleManias in a while, honestly. But of course, there's a full card and everything. Night 1 was amazing. If WrestleMania was only night 1, it would still be one of the better years of WrestleMania. Night 2 held its own, held it together, mainly with the Edge and AJ match, the body of that match, and the big fight feel of Roman and Brock. So we know WrestleMania was good, but the only question is, will the Raw after Mania be good? And I think it was. I think it held its own. There's a lot of memorable moments here. Cody coming out right at the beginning, and he said, "So, what do you guys want to talk about?" A callback to his last promo in AEW, where he kind of went on this nonsensical rant, kind of shooting on AEW, kind of complaining, kind of bringing up storyline aspects. And he brings up his dad, and he tears up here. He says he's not only his dad, he was his hero. And it was an amazing promo, always good from Cody, interrupted by Seth. I think we're going to get that storyline even more so. I think this might be the main event of Backlash, but who knows? I think Brock is gone, and now this is going to be a big main story arc of Raw. I think this is Cody coming in was the shot in the arm that Raw needed. Elias returned, or should I say Ezekiel, a beardless Elias called Ezekiel. I see a lot of hate online talking about how he looks shitty without the beard. I think he looks alright without the beard. Veer comes out, Miz dips after beating Dominic. Veer beats Dominic's ass, then slams Rey Mysterio. Veer versus Rey next week on Raw. I think this is the perfect match to hype up Veer. You're putting him in there with a smaller veteran, a guy who can lead him through a good match while also making him look, like a monster. Perfect pairing here. Braun Breaker comes out. People, I was shocked that Ziggler won the match at Stand and Deliver, winning the NXT title, but I guess they wanted to put him on a big stage. Braun Breaker, the star of Tuesday nights, comes on Monday night and wins the NXT title. I think this was huge for Braun Breaker. I don't know why they didn't put this on WrestleMania. I think if they just took out the New Day versus Unholy Trinity and had a real quick NXT title match where Braun Breaker won, I think you would have solidified him as a star there. But the Raw after Mania was good too. You gotta hype up Tuesday nights because they're not looking good in the ratings. So you put the title on him at the biggest Raw of the year. People are more prone to tune in on Tuesday nights, especially after his dad and uncle went into the Hall of Fame. I thought it was awesome. Edge comes out. It was solid heel turn. I'm with it. But then he says, "All rise." And that sounds a little too much like House of Black here, especially when you're doing this cult-like thing here. Crowd almost ruins it trying to get themselves over several times. Good on Edge and Priest for shutting it down several times. They're chanting, "We are sheep." Edge says that's telling. And then they just chant, "We are losers." And, Priest says, I guess they're trying to throw them off by doubling down on what Edge and Priest are saying about the crowd. I didn't like it. I thought it was really fucking lame. You could tell it was a small segment of people that were trying to throw them off, and veterans did not get thrown off. Good for them. Great Raw, But now let's talk about Joey Janela Spring Break Night 2. I thought Raw was better than Spring Break Night 2. I'll say that right now, which, I thought Raw was shit for the past year, and I thought GCW really was doing a lot of good stuff. But it was mainly bad because of the clusterfuck. The undercard was great. Matt Cardona with Chelsea Green versus Chris Dickinson returned to GCW with Missy Hyatt. Cardona, hilarious promo as always. Chelsea kisses Matt, and then Missy Hyatt kisses Dickinson, of all things. That was crazy. Cardona uses his wrist tape and Chelsea Green's interference to get the upper hand. Brainbuster 1-2. DVD 1-2. No, Cardona kicks out of both, hits the Rough Rider. The crowd thinks it's over, but Dickinson kicks out. Crowd goes nuts. Chelsea tries to hit Dickinson with the Gucci bag she stole from Missy Hyatt, but Dickinson ducks, connects with Cardona, Razor's Edge, 1-2-3. Dickinson gets the victory. This, to me, was a lot like AEW Dynamite a lot of times, where you see the best match on the show be put first. The show was on at midnight on Friday night. I hadn't had a chance to talk about it, but I want to bring it up because I do think it's a big show, and it kind of encompasses the feeling in the air of WrestleMania week that's outside of the stuff WWE is doing. And outside of the stuff that Ring of Honor does with Supercard of Honor. But then Dickinson gets the victory here. Great match. Tony Deppen versus Biff Busick. This was a good match too. Deppen diving, double stomp in the ring. 1-2. Biff kicks out, slaps, uppercuts. It looks like Biff Busick's in control, but Deppen turns it into a German, just like right as Biff is coming in with the uppercut. Deppen Nero's him like Matrix, and then grabs his back, German. I thought that was awesome. Big knee, 1-2-3. Tony Deppen wins, and then cuts a great fucking promo. This match, to me, solidified Tony Deppen as a star in GCW. For me, he was like a gatekeeper for the mid-card, but I would put him up there, second heel under Cardona at this point. Jordan Oliver versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Very long handshake battle here. I don't know what handshake battle. They shook hands for far too long. Sit down powerbomb 1-2. Matt kicks out. Mike Bailey kicks out. Matt Bailey, Mike Bailey. I can't even remember his name. Speedball. Let's just call him Speedball. Shooting star countered into a cutter. Springboard cutter 1-2. Speedball kicks out. I'm shocked. I know that he was supposed to get the match here, or get the win here, but that was the coolest thing ever. It was supposed to be a quick mid-card match. They could have put over Jordan Oliver. He's been wrestling with GCW for years. I thought Jordan Oliver was going to get the victory anyways here, but no. It looked like a few months ago Jordan Oliver was right to get pushed, kind of closer to the top, but now he's lost twice in 2 nights in spring break. I don't know. He looks like he's getting outshadowed by Nick Wayne. I don't know what's going on there. Effie versus Suzuki. Suzuki just wrestled at Supercard of Honor and wrestled, earlier in the day for New Japan, and then also wrestled WrestleCon earlier the next day. So he had 4 matches in 24 hours. But this match was ridiculous. They kiss each other, they beat each other, they start slapping each other, strikes exchanged. The gay ranchula by Effie, the funniest submission in the business. A titty twister by Effie. All this odd offense gets stopped by the Gotch style power driver from Suzuki. 1-2-3. Minoru Suzuki gets the victory. So this match was good, and then it all goes in to the clusterfuck. And yes, it's called the clusterfuck, so I should know what I'm getting into. But I feel like this year there was a lot to be desired here. It was missing a lot of the stuff. We'll get into it. Of course, the participants come out at random intervals. You can get eliminated by going over the top, getting pinned, getting submitted, leaving the building, or dying. Or dying. Fun rules here. Usually a fun match, but I think this shit just drug on and on. I can't imagine being up at 2 a.m. after watching wrestling all day, knowing that I'm going to watch wrestling tomorrow, and sitting through all this shit. I don't know if I would have stayed, honestly. I did enjoy the beginning, though. Joey Janela coming out. First clusterfuck for Joey Janela. And then second to come out, Buff Bagwell. He had a hard time getting in the ring. If you're going to hire these legends, you got to get steps for him. He had a hard time getting in the ring. He gets eliminated quickly. This leads to about 5 or 6 participants getting eliminated by Joey Janela, getting a lot of heat on Joey Janela. And then Juicy Finau and Sam Stackhouse come out, 2 big guys. They go at it. Joey Janela eliminates them. And then Rhett Titus comes out, followed by the Invisible Man. I'm over this gimmick. They did the Invisible Man thing. Every single clusterfuck. They even had Invisible Man versus Invisible Man number 2 at WrestleMania 35. Here we are, WrestleMania 38, and they're just driving this gimmick to the ground. We've already seen All You Can Do. We get it. The guy wrestles himself against an invisible person for a while. You've done all you can do here. I think you should end the joke. Realize, the Invisible Man had a good run, but it's time to put his invisible boots in the ring like Triple H did. Dante Leon, Ninja Mac tear it up. Jimmy Lloyd comes out. I was excited about this. Now I was like, okay, cool. This is going to be some good in-ring action. Dante Leon, Ninja Mac, Jimmy Lloyd. But Jimmy Lloyd comes out coughing. And much like the Invisible Man, they do this thing that really wasn't too funny to begin with. Even when it was relevant, they did the social distancing match. They put on masks, and Joey Janela and Jimmy Lloyd kind of do this like 6 feet apart social distancing thing. They did this in 2020 when it was relevant, but this is 2022. It got booed. So I think that the Invisible Man thing didn't really land as much as they thought it would. I think, the crowd had fun with it a little bit, but not as much as they did years past. I think the Invisible Man won the clusterfuck at WrestleMania 34. So 4 years ago, you peaked the Invisible Man, and you're still running it into the ground after 4 years. And then this guy, Early Morning Guy Steele, comes out, which is a person dressed like a blue-collar worker with like a Halloween mask on. He seemed like he couldn't wrestle at first, but then he could wrestle pretty well. Hit a destroyer, hit a 450. I wonder who it was, but the crowd hated this. This killed the crowd. I think 3 bad jokes in a row just drove this crowd to the ground. Ring fills up. Grim Reaper comes out, smokes a joint with a few of the guys. So that was, his spot there. But then Joey gets on the mic and says, I'm not signed to AEW anymore. I can smoke weed. I'm coming out and doing that. And it's like, so now the thing, I just think he kind of stepped all over Grim Reaper here. Grim Reaper is the guy who smokes weed in the ring. Of course, anyone can smoke weed in the ring, but it's his shit. That's what he does. And, Joey just had the mic and then, kind of took it over. He was doing a lot of stuff like that where I don't really think it landed as well as he probably thought it landed. And it all kind of culminated with him eating Cheetos. I don't know why that was supposed to be a big deal, but he was just walking around eating a bag of Cheetos. Big Ben and Pero in the ring at the same time. 2 big guys going at it. Spider Nate Webb, a clusterfuck legend, coming out to Wheatus. But then who's behind him? Joey Janela. He makes it a big deal that he's into the song as well, following Nate Webb around the ring. It wasn't good. I think Joey Janela really thought he was funny, and he might have been the only one thinking he was funny here. Ring fills up with a lot of ladies, including Jazzy Yang, Jimmy Wang Yang's daughter. And then Maven comes out. So this was cool, the second legend, because there's like 30 or 40 guys at this point, and we only had Buff. And I remember the original reason I really liked the clusterfuck were, a lot of legends coming out and everything like that. But then Maven just did not give a fuck. First of all, he had a shirt pushing this antiques website. Got in the ring, literally, like, people were just stood around him and got, hit with some drop kicks. And then he just left, clearly not giving a fuck. This is kind of when the clusterfuck really got, like, odd. I wasn't into this thing, man. I thought I would be. I was sitting down. I was ready to have some fun. Sean Ross Sapp comes out. A chance of We Want Meltzer. I thought that was pretty good. The crowd did get themselves over here, in my opinion. He gets eliminated. Josh Barnett comes out. That was pretty good. But then Jimmy Wang Yang comes out, so I should be excited about this. I love both these guys here. But they end up having a really sloppy exchange, ruining this moment. Alex Price comes out, a great indie wrestler, eliminates Jimmy Wang Yang and Jazzy Yang. They announced that Slade, who had come out earlier in the match, just left the building. I don't know if he got hurt or something. Nick Wayne comes out, eliminates Joey Janela. Nick Wayne, star of the spring break here, winning the Scramble night 1, and now eliminating Joey Janela for me night 2. I know you're supposed to not like Joey Janela with this new gimmick here, but it was really kind of like go away. He got X-Pac heat here. He beat X-Pac night 1, and now he has X-Pac heat for me in night 2. And then they really kind of ran out of stuff to do here. You could kind of tell 12 guys come out at once representing LA Fights, which is a new promotion they have out in LA. And then Team Second Gear Crew come out, which of course is like their main faction, their main good guy faction of Matt Justice, Mance Warner, Manders, AJ Gray. I didn't know Eli Everett was with them, but he stands out like a sore thumb. The guy who's kind of has a Amish gimmick, standing up with these like partiers. I don't know. It seems weird for the sake of being weird, which is kind of what this clusterfuck was. I think the body of this match suffered greatly from having a lot of their stars and the guys who are over in the Second Gear Crew not come out as individuals. There was giant lulls where I think there could have been big pops for these guys' entrances if they came out individually. And also you could have had AJ Gray win his match and get his win back over losing to Moxley the night before. But I think that's really kind of overthinking what they were trying to do with this clusterfuck here. But even the LA Fights guys, a few of them had different gimmicks, Jack Cartwheel being one of them. I think that if they came out through the body of the match, you could have gotten their characters over a little more, and then I would have been more likely to tune into LA Fights. They come out just looking like a bunch of guys here, and I've already seen a bunch of guys, so I really thought that having, LA Fights come out as a group and having Second Gear Crew come out as a group really made the earlier part and the middle part of this just kind of drag, where you really want these big pops for these entrances. So why put 10 guys that could get separate pops all in 2 entrances? I think they really fucked up here with the whole Royal Rumble concept and the clusterfuck concept here with getting the pops with all the entrances by not having a lot of legends and taking the guys that were actually over in this and clumping them all together. Spring Break Night 1 was better. The Second Gear Crew won the whole thing. They're keeping it tight on the Second Gear Crew celebrating. I think this was because a lot of people were just leaving, and then they just filmed Matthew Justice going, "What'd you expect?" I guess implying that he sees that it wasn't as over as they thought it would be. This is Spring Break 6. Is this the year to jump the shark? I don't know. I definitely think they need to rethink the clusterfuck. I think Ethan Page was, who's the guy who put together the clusterfuck for a number of years. He's in AEW now. I don't know if he helped or if he didn't help. I'm assuming. If he did help, I think he was, what did they call that guy? Early morning Guy Steele. I think that would be Ethan Page. He was a little bit bigger than a lot of the guys in the ring. But I don't really know, but that's hearsay. But I'm assuming that Ethan Page didn't help with this one, and that's why this one was so bad. They had a guy come out at one point who they just said is the Alaskan promoter. I know that GCW did a thing in Wyoming last year. Maybe they'll do a show in Alaska. That'd be kind of cool. I think GCW is doing a lot of cool stuff here with Cardona and with Nick Wayne. But I don't think they... I don't know, man. I think when they grow, they got to leave some stuff behind here. And maybe rethinking the clusterfuck or going back to what originally made the clusterfuck awesome, which was, a lot of legends and, having these big pops for these entrances where the Second Gear Crew coming all up at once. That's a big pop, but I do think that if Manders, AJ Gray, Matthew Justice, and Mance Warner all came out separately. Those are 5 big pops, because some of these guys who were coming out, the crowd was completely fucking dead. And then LA Fights, I mean, Jack Hartwell would have gotten a good pop. They had a few guys who had good gimmicks. I'd never really seen them before, but the gimmicks, would have been something cool to see in the body of the match, rather than Joey Janela just kind of, stepping over everyone else's gimmick. I'm kind of digressing here. I think if you're complaining a lot about the clusterfuck, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. But, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. I've been a fan of, I've been to a clusterfuck. So from going to a clusterfuck at WrestleMania 34 to now at WrestleMania 38, not even enjoying watching it on my computer, says a lot about it. But WrestleMania was amazing, guys. I still love pro wrestling. I still love you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of WrestleMania. Fly high. I'm out.